In this video, I'll be describing the steps used to design and produce a rotary or fourth axis for my automated CNC router. Most users of rotary systems use a metal chuck to hold projects being turned. However, I'll be describing the use of some 3D printed faceplates which attach to both ends of the boards being turned. These faceplates are much smaller than the metal chucks and eliminate the problem of the router bits crashing into the metal chucks. I'll also be describing the software used to transfer the G-code that was generated by the project design software to the automated router system to control the carving of projects using this rotary axis. Finally, I'll be demonstrating the steps needed to set up and carve a wood egg project using this rotary axis system. Using this rotary axis system, I was able to carve some wood-turned eggs with the ends turned down to just 1/4 of an inch in diameter. There'll be a second video in this series which demonstrates the software used to design these wood-turning projects. In that video, I'll be describing several of the projects created with this rotary axis system, including some wood-turned and decorated eggs, some Christmas tree decorations, and some small boxes or bowls. Over the past few months, I've worked on a design for a fourth axis or rotary system for my automated CNC router. I came up with a number of different designs for this project, so let me briefly go through these designs to show you what I developed.
My first idea was to use this rotary axis from my laser marker. This system consists of a stepper motor which is mounted on a rotatable base, and it also includes a small 3-jaw chuck. However, there are a few problems which I encountered when trying to use this system with the automated CNC router. First of all, the system is just too high. The center of rotation of the chuck is 5.5 inches from the tabletop, which is just too high. I had previously modified my automated CNC router system by raising the height of the Y-axis mounting rail to enable the machining of taller projects. So, I now needed a rotary axis with the center of rotation less than 5 inches above the tabletop. The second problem is the use of the metal chuck used with this system. I had another idea to use smaller face plates to mount my wood blocks to be turned. These face plates can either be machined out of aluminum or preferably 3D printed. These faceplates will be much smaller than the metal chuck and easier to use. By using the 3D printed faceplates, this will eliminate the possibility of the collision of the router cutter bits with the metal chuck or aluminum faceplates. So let me go on to my next design. I used my Fusion 360 software to design this first rotary axis system for my automated CNC router. I then printed out the various components of this prototype using my 3D printer. This prototype consisted of multiple parts which were then assembled into this system. This system consists of a stepper motor which is mounted on a front plate. On the stepper motor spindle, I can mount either a chuck or a small faceplate. On the tailstock end I can mount various end tips. I designed this system so that the stepper motor and tailstock can both be tilted. This stepper motor and tailstock are mounted on a base plate that I can tilt to various angles. What I am able to do with this system is to mount a wood-turned egg between the spindle and the tailstock and rotate it so that I could carve designs on the upper and lower surfaces of the sides of the eggs by just tilting the baseplate. After I designed this plastic prototype, I then machined a final version from aluminum using my CNC mill. And this is the version I came up with after that initial design. It is machined out of aluminum, and again it can be rotated up and down to various angles and then locked in position with 2 thumb screws. Instead of using a chuck to mount my wood to be turned, I am using a small faceplate. These faceplates were designed using the Fusion 360 software and then printed out using PLA plastic on my 3D printer. These faceplates are much smaller than the large chucks normally used with rotary vices. The faceplates are just screwed into the ends of the boards to be turned using 3 small wood screws. Now on the tailstock, I used a small cone-shaped block which contains 2 roller bearings that mounts on the tailstock pin. Due to these 2 roller bearings on this block, it turns freely on the tailstock. Later I replaced this cone-shaped block with another faceplate with 2 roller bearings, which screws into the opposite end of the wood block. I found that using this second faceplate on the tailstock end provides for improved turning and improved support of the small wood turning projects, which I will describe later. This system worked pretty well and I was able to carve designs on several of my wood-turned eggs. However, I determined that what I really needed was a larger system. I will need to be able to turn projects that are up to 18 inches long and possibly even longer. This tilting baseplate is fine for carving details on my small wood eggs, but it is not needed for turning larger and longer projects. Another issue with this initial design is that I felt that the shaft of the NEMA 23 stepper motor was just too small. The shaft of this NEMA 23 stepper motor is only 8 mm in diameter. And it is quite short. I determined that if I used a larger diameter and longer shaft, I would have more meat on the shaft to better support the faceplates onto which I will be mounting my wood blocks. The next size stepper motor is the NEMA 34 stepper motor, which is quite a bit larger. So, after this I came up with my third and final version. This is my final design of the rotary axis system for the automated CNC router, which I once again designed using the Fusion 360 software. This system consists of a 4-inch wide by 18 inches long by 3/8 inch thick aluminum mounting plate onto which everything mounts. The headstock with the NEMA 34 motor is securely screwed into the mounting plate. On the opposite end I have included a sliding tailstock with an adjustable mounting pin with a locking screw. On the headstock, I'm using the NEMA 34 stepper motor. This is a much larger motor than I used in the previous system. The shaft is 14 mm in diameter and over an inch long. Once again, I am using these 3D printed faceplates. I could have machined these out of aluminum, but the plastic is actually better because if a router bit would happen to hit a metal faceplate or metal chuck, it could easily destroy the router bit. Plus the faceplates are much smaller than the larger metal chucks. These 3D printed faceplates are designed to slide over the shaft of the stepper motor. I designed a keyway pin inside the faceplate shaft which fits snugly into the groove in the stepper motor shaft. I also included a 4 mm metric set screw into the side of the faceplate shaft which will securely lock the faceplate onto the stepper motor shaft. The faceplate is then attached to the wood being turned using a set of 3 small wood screws. This is an example of one of the NEMA 34 stepper motors that I am using. This stepper motor is actually an open-loop stepper motor, but I am using a closed-loop stepper motor in my system due to its greater accuracy by eliminating the chance of any missed steps. A closed-loop stepper motor is much more accurate than the open-loop stepper motor. I will be using the 3D printed faceplates to mount my wood boards to the stepper motor shaft on the headstock. On the tailstock I have 2 options. I can use a cone-shaped center point that has 2 roller bearings mounted in its base that permits the free rotation of the center point. However, I prefer to use a new 3D printed faceplate. I have determined that using a faceplate on the tailstock is always going to provide for more accurate turning. The tailstock faceplate is screwed to the end of the board being turned. It better supports the tailstock end of the board and prevents any lateral or longitudinal movement of the board being turned. I prefer to use the tailstock faceplate because it's always going to be more accurate and it better supports the boards being turned, especially when small diameters are being turned. This is an example of a wood block ready to be turned with faceplates mounted on both ends of the board. On the headstock end of the wood block, I attached a faceplate with 3 screws. On the tailstock I attached a second faceplate with 2 roller bearings using 3 wood screws. This assembly is then attached to the shaft of the stepper motor, secured with the set screw, and then the other end is attached to the shaft pin on the tailstock. To attach this rotary axis system to the automated CNC router, I use some clamps to just clamp it to my table. I align the unit perfectly straight on both the headstock and tailstock ends. I have some lines scribed on both the headstock and tailstock centers to mark the center of rotation, so I can align my system very accurately. I just completed the design and machining of a few wood eggs to test out this new design of this rotary axis, but I will be demonstrating the actual machining of a number of different wood eggs in more detail in the next video in this series. This is my very first prototype, which is an egg with spirals going down the center. The second egg is actually the same design, but I ran the spirals in both directions, clockwise and counterclockwise, to give it this checkered pattern. For this third egg, which I actually carved some designs into the surface of the eggs. I designed these eggs using the Aspire software, which will be described in the next video in this series. I have been testing 2 different software programs to control the operation of the 4th axis or rotary axis for the automated CNC router. These software packages control the transfer of the G-code program from the PC computer to the automated CNC router system. This first program I tested is called G-Sender. I do like this system and I have been using it quite a bit to control the X, Y, and Z operations of the various 3D projects that I have been working on using the automated CNC router. This system works quite nicely. It has a well-designed with a screen that shows you the actual operation of the cutting and carving of projects. However, this system only permits the operation of 3 axes at a time. If I want to use it for the operation of the rotary system, then I need to eliminate one of the other axes, usually the Y-axis. I am not able to use the X, the Y, the Z, and the rotary axis at the same time. While it is possible to operate the rotary system with this software, I find it inconvenient. I would prefer to be able to use all 4 of the axes to better control the automated CNC router with the rotary axis attached. So as a result, I will be using a different program to transfer the G-code from the computer to the automated CNC router. This second program that I tested and will be using is called the Universal G-code Sender. With this system I am able to control the operation of the X, the Y, the Z, and also the rotary axis, which is called the A-axis. Therefore, I can control all 4 systems to control the complete operation of the automated CNC router. Therefore, I do prefer this system over the previous software package, and this is the software package that I will be using. To generate the G-code program I have been using the Vectric Aspire software. In the Aspire software I am able to visually design my projects and generate the G-code for the projects to be carved and turned. I will describe this software in more detail in the next video in this series. Once the G-code program has been generated, I first of all transfer this code into the Universal G-code Sender program as I am demonstrating here. Once the program is loaded, the G-code is displayed on the center panel on the screen and it can be modified or adjusted if needed. An image of the linear cutting patterns is displayed on the right panel on the screen. Before I started, I need to adjust the 0 position of each of the axes. I have full control to move and adjust any of the 4 axes of the system in order to set up these 0 positions. Next, I will describe the procedures for the turning of a wood block using this new rotary axis system on the automated CNC router. I am starting with the wood block that was shown previously, but I cut the corners off of this block on my bandsaw just so that there is less wood to remove when rounding the wood block. I have designed a custom jig to enable the easy and safe slicing off of the corners of these wood blocks on my bandsaw. This jig consists of 2 45-degree V blocks, mounted to a thin plywood base that is just clamped to my bandsaw tabletop. I have adjusted the position of the jig on my bandsaw table, clamped it in place with 2 clamps and then proceeded to cut off the corners on the wood blocks as shown here. I then mounted my faceplate on one end of the wood block, and on the other end of the wood block I mounted another faceplate with the 2 roller bearings. The wood block with the faceplate is then inserted onto the shaft on the stepper motor, and then I use an Allen wrench to tighten the set screw against the stepper motor shaft. This locks the key on the faceplate into the slot on the stepper motor shaft to assure that the wood block will remain in place and not rotate, vibrate, or come loose during any turning operations. I then push the tailstock up against the second faceplate on the other end of the wood block, firmly seat the pin end of the tailstock pin into the hole in the bearings, and then lock the tailstock in place using the 2 thumb screws. I then rotate the tailstock threaded pin to firmly hold the end of the wood block in place. I then tighten the green locking nut to hold the tailstock pin in place. This locking nut prevents the tailstock pin from loosening during any turning operations. I have installed a pointed router bit into the chuck on the spindle motor. I will use this sharp point to align the spindle motor with the center of rotation of the wood block mounted on the rotary axis and 0 the Y position. As I described earlier, I had previously machined grooves on both the top surfaces of the tailstock and the headstock, and I can then use these scribed center markers to perfectly align the Y-axis of the system to the center of rotation of the wood block. I then moved the spindle to adjust the pointed router bit on the tailstock end of the wood block and used the system axis controls to perfectly align the pointed router bit in line with the scribed mark on the top of the tailstock block. When the alignment was complete, I set the 0 position for the Y-axis on the computer control in the Universal G-code Sender program. Since the rotary axis system on both the headstock and tailstock were perfectly aligned previously, there is no need to repeat this alignment on the headstock, but this could be done if needed to verify the complete alignment of the rotary axis. When I designed this wood turning project using the Aspire software, I specified that my reference points for the design would be the center of rotation of the wood block for the control of the Z-axis positioning, and I also set the top center of the surface of the wood block as the reference point for the X-axis positioning. Therefore, I marked the center of the wood block, and then I used this marked location to adjust the spindle motor to mark this center position. I then zeroed out the X-axis position in the Universal G-code sender program. This completes the setting of the zero positions for both the X and the Y positions for the machining of the wood block. In designing this rotary axis, I machined the system such that the center of rotation of the stepper motor is exactly 3.5 inches above the CNC router tabletop. This center of rotation will be the zero position for the Z-axis for all of my projects. In order to perfectly set this Z-axis or center of rotation position, I machined an aluminum block that is this same 3.5 inches tall, and I will use this aluminum block to set my Z0 positions for all of the router bits used for these projects. I then moved the spindle to the left using the Y-axis control to clear it from the wood block and close to the aluminum block. This Y-axis movement is the main reason that I needed a software system that has the ability to move all four axes of the system. For the first turning operation, I will be using a program to turn the wood block perfectly round. Therefore, I installed a 1/4 inch diameter end mill into the spindle chuck. Next, I need to adjust the tip of this router bit and set its position to the center of rotation of the wood block mounted in the rotary axis system. I then use the Z-axis controls to set the tip of the router bit so that it just clears the surface of the aluminum block. I move the aluminum block back and forth as I set this position. I then set this zero position for the Z-axis on the Universal G-code sender program screen. I then raise the Z-axis to a height so that the router bit will clear the surface of the wood block, and then move the router bit to the X and Y0 positions above the wood block. I then installed the dust brush to aid in the dust collection system and then started the program to round the wood block. After the rounding program was complete, I ran a second program using the same 1/4 inch diameter end mill to perform the rough carving of the wood block in the rotary axis system. This second program enables the quick removal of the majority of the wood as quickly as possible from the project. As a final step, I changed the router bit to a tapered bull nose router bit with a 1/32 of an inch diameter tip. This router bit was then used to finalize the carving design for this project. Since this router bit is quite small, this program took considerably longer to complete than the previous two programs. For most of my projects, this step took at least 12 hours to complete. Notice for this project that I was able to carve down quite deeply. The two dowels machined on the two ends of the carved eggs are only 1/4 of an inch in diameter. Using the rotary carving system, there is little stress on the wood block during the turning process, and as a result you can carve down close to the spindle axis of rotation. I have machined more than a dozen wood eggs with these small dowel ends, and I have been able to machine the ends of these eggs down to less than 1/4 of an inch in diameter. Turning down to these small diameters could not be done using a conventional wood lathe. And here is the finished machined wood egg that was machined with the new rotary axis for my automated CNC router. Finally, I used a fine saw to cut off the small dowel ends on the egg, sanded these surfaces smooth, and then sanded the overall egg using a floppy disk sander. This removed the small burrs on the surface of the egg and cleaned it up ready for finishing.
This concludes this video describing the development and design of a rotary axis system for the automated CNC router. In part 2 of this video series, I'll be describing the design of some rotary projects using the Aspire software, including several wood carved eggs, some Christmas tree ornaments, and a small bowl or cup. I'll demonstrate the carving of these projects using the rotary axis on the automated CNC router, and I'll show pictures of more than a dozen projects created with this system.